Hey guys, so now that y'all taking a look at what Queen City Corals looks like, be right back. What is going on?
I took out the bacon from the thing.
Uh-oh, you burnt it?
I burned just that one. This one. My cooking skills are not where they need to be at.
All right, so that's settled right there. I did buy some coral from Kevin at Queen City Corals. I bought a Walt Disney, and I also bought a Red Planet from them. Those were the two SPS frags that I bought, in addition to a clam. Well, since then and now, I've actually picked up other pieces from local reefers that they have put on Facebook and for sale. And I've actually had some that I bought from Nemo's Reef before I went to Kevin's. And from Advanced Aquatics. Now, I'm not going to remember which one I bought from where, to be honest. And all of the ones that I bought from Nemo's and Advanced Aquatics are no-name ones. So I was basing it strictly on the color that they had and if I liked it. The ones that I bought from the local reefers did have names, and I'm gonna be honest, I already forgot some of them. So I'm gonna take advantage of this time to give y'all also an update on the Red Sea that we have upstairs. I haven't given an update on this tank in quite some time, and I'm gonna go ahead and just show you the tank and tell you all about why, and you know, so on and so forth. So let's turn the camera around. All right, so here's the tank. You know what? Let's try see if I just turn on all the lights so it doesn't look this blue. But I don't think it looks that bad. The problem is the window in the back. And no matter what angle I do, you'll see the windows. All right, guys, so I apologize for the glare. We're gonna have to work with it. But here is the tank. So as you can see, I've sort of rearranged the rockscape again. Initially, my first thought was I was going to grow out coral in this tank, and as it grew, you know, to then supply the frags in the 310 mega matrix. But then there was a crash. I'll be honest, I wasn't keeping up with the parameters either. Things started dying. The worst of it all was that my LPS started looking really bad, like my hammers and my torches and mushrooms. Even mushrooms weren't looking that great. They were never fluffed out as much. So then I knew there was a problem, and I measured parameters at that point. And they weren't bad. I mean, every time you could even ask my wife, I would always bet with her, like, I've checked all the parameters and everything seems to be in range. And so, to be honest, to this day, I don't know what it was. But what I did was I took everything out of this tank and I decided it was time for the tanks downstairs to get corals. And so that's how that started. I started putting corals in the tanks downstairs, and I decided to move everything out and leave this tank alone. I added a lot of cleanup crew to take care of the algae that grew, and decided to do some water changes, you know, more often, because I was doing it maybe once every 2 to 4 weeks, and I decided to do it at least once a week at that time. And so that started helping a lot. And since then, I've been able to keep the parameters in range. I actually have started measuring the parameters once a week every Sunday, and try to keep those within range as well. And so far so good. So far so good that the SPS that I do have in here, you can see in a lot of them that the polyps are extended. You know, they're looking great. I also added a clam, which I got from Queen City Corals. Anyways, let's get you through what I got. So these 4 right here are what I got at Nemo's and at Advanced Aquatics. This guy right here was at Nemo's. It's blue with some yellow polyps. I thought the colors were amazing. Then that one right in the middle is a I don't know what it is. These are all no names from those stores. Every time I would ask, they would tell me just, you know, from the wild or something. Which has some reds and greens in it. Then we have this one that initially had some reds and the bottom was green as well. But now it's pretty much just red, pinkish all the way through. This one, I remember that I saw it, you know, with various colors, but in this tank it's just yellow green. Then we have this guy here too. that had a lot of colors, and in my tank is not showing them. It's probably the settings that I have with the lights, but what I care about is polyp extension, and I don't think you can see that through this camera. Every time I get close, it starts getting blurry. But there's a lot of polyp extension, and that's all I'm worried about. One thing I have noticed that when I move the SPS from this tank into the Mega Matrix, I can tell you that those SPS that were in here that looked either brown or looked just very plain, they have some beautiful color now. And of course, I'm gonna make a video of that, of how they're growing out and all that, and make sure to share that with y'all so you can see the progress. This is the home wrecker / Walt Disney that I got from Queen City Corals, and in his tank it looked great. In this one it is starting to turn pale. I did have it up high and I decided to bring it lower because I see some polyps in there, but it looks closer to death than it does look, you know, to be flourishing. So there's one that I've had in here for quite some time now. Every time that I add new coral, I have to extend the quarantine or the holding period in this tank to another 45 days, but I've told myself after this last batch of corals that I added, it will be 45 days before I add anything, because I will move these corals down to the SPS tank. And these here, I had the light very low. As you know, that I had to leave to El Salvador because of my grandmother's death, and so I left my wife in charge of all the tanks. And so in this tank and on all the other tanks, I lowered the light intensity some, and these corals here browned out. They all look just brown. This one, that one, you can see it's starting to get some green tips, and of course it starts looking blurry. And then you have that one right there, right in the middle. Let's see if I can get a better shot of it right here. That one right there, right in the middle, that I also had browned out. That was during the time of where I had to leave. This one's another one that I grabbed from, lights went out. Darn it. Alright, so these guys right here are corals that have names. I remember half of them. I'll have to look through the text messages when I was texting with them to remember the other half. But this right here is the red planet that I did get from Queen City Corals. That one has its polyps out. You can see the reds and greens in them, which I like. This one behind it, that guy right there, that every time I zoom in it gets blurry. That guy right there is a solar flare millie. Then to the left of it, so that guy right there is another Walt Disney, which you can see its polyps very extended, as much as they were whenever they were at her house, so I'm happy with that. And those two are from lady named Stephanie on one of the groups on Facebook that's local to me. Then you have these 5 that I got from Eric, which is another gentleman from Facebook that I know that sells out of his tanks. I only remember the names of 3 of these. I don't actually remember what this guy is, this long one, or that one. I'll have to look, but that one's supposed to be another Walt Disney. You're wondering why I keep so many Walt Disneys? Well, I'm gonna keep that one here in this tank, and I'm gonna move that one eventually to the Mega Matrix. I have not had luck with Walt Disneys, as you can tell. Look at that one. That one, I honestly just think that after the cut, cause see, I had, especially these 5, I had them cut and I had the guy wait for about 5 days, but he cut it again for this one on and I'm not sure if that stressed it out and started making it go pale, because it didn't look as good as it looked in this tank from day one that I had it. This one is a PC Rainbow. This one is a Bloody Mary something. I don't remember. Let's see. So it's a living, that red one is supposed to be a living, or pink one, supposed to be a living Reef Orlando Bloody Mary, Tinius. So we'll see how that one turns out. So I'll keep this video as a record so that I can keep track of what is what, especially when they grow and if I get them to grow enough to where I will need to start cutting them, then I can offer them to people local to me. So one of the things I did, you know, before having to leave was I purchased this 20-gallon tank. Being that I have so much space in this stand area, I figured I would upgrade from a 10-gallon to a 20-gallon. The 10-gallon itself would last me about a week without having to refill, and so I was anticipating leaving for 2 to 3 weeks, and I was gone for actually 3 weeks. And guess what? By the time I came back, this was halfway down. Now I did also lower the temperature from 78 to 76, and I've left it there with the hope that evaporation would actually slow down because the temperature is not as high. And again, 10 gallons normally would last me a week, and it had been 3 weeks, and it was halfway down. So I'm assuming something worked, right? Now some of you have wondered what I use back here, and nothing has changed when it comes to what I use back here. I still use what came with this tank, which is a 2-pump Red Sea pumps. The Red Sea skimmer that does an okay job at, you know, skimming, take the nasties out. I have to tinker with it all the time though. I do use a Toonsy osmolator for my return pump, and that's pretty much it. One thing that did fail in this tank was I had a Jabo, one of those Gyra Jabo pumps, and it lasted for about over a year, and it completely died. Now I don't blame it on the pump, I blame that on myself. I never took it out to clean it since I've owned it, and it was full of coralline algae, and you know, it looked dirty. So I could have probably gotten another year out of it if I would have cleaned it. I'm actually happy with it. I'm not trying to trash it or anything. I'm happy with the amount of time that I got from it. So I changed them to the Innovative Marine pumps, the wavelengths. These are the Innovative Marine wavelengths, and so far, if you take a close look at the polyps on these corals, it's blowing them around, so it's doing a pretty good job. Where I do see that there is an issues are right here with I had cyano the other day and I vacuumed it out, so I'm thinking this is a dead spot. I may have to add another pump. Luckily I do have an MP10 that has been sitting around waiting to be used somewhere, and I might just put it right here to blow some water around in here. So, well guys, this right here is an update on this Red Sea E-260 Max. I have really no complaints on it. If I could have done it all over, I probably would have chosen the one that had the sump at the bottom. I just feel like it's a lot easier to clean the sump when it's at the bottom versus when it's back there. That a lot of splashing happens in the back of that wall when I try to take out the skimmer from there, when I try to take out the sponges to clean them. And so if I could do it again, I would definitely be getting the one with the sump at the bottom. So not sure about y'all's thoughts on it. I know a lot of y'all think that the sump in the back is very convenient, especially when you have enough space to put a large enough ATO. But if I couldn't have put it there, I probably would have put it on the side right there. But yeah, so my wife maybe will let me get a...
No. We gotta talk deals before you say anything else.
What you get?
Yep.
See, I get extorted when oh shoot. I get extorted when I try to buy something. Now my hobby has become more expensive because if I buy something, she has to get something out of it, and you know, she's smart. I gotta give it to her. One tank I have been looking at, not on a daily basis, FYI. Like, you know, when I see people post them and that they set it up or whatever, it's like the Cade aquarium ones. Because of the stainless the aluminum stands, where, you know, to me I just, versus this plywood one, it's just I like aluminum, and I wish I could have gotten aluminum, but I couldn't afford it at the time. So anyways guys, I think this is gonna do it for this video. Actually, that's gonna do it for this video. I truly appreciate y'all watching. I appreciate y'all's patience on videos that are coming out from this channel. I will get back on track. And for now, I hope you liked this update. If you did, please hit the like button. I will catch you on the next one, guys. Thank you.